Sometimes they lock in secrets no parent ever imagined. It was early too. 0:25 in Pinellas Park, Florida, when the quiet mornings of Beacon Christian Academy were shattered. A third-grade science teacher, Stephen Hauser, 67, was arrested. The charge? Creating child sexual abuse material using yearbook photos of his own students. Hauser had worked at the school for years. In many eyes, he was a respected teacher, someone trusted by parents to guide their young children through early education. But investigators said the trust masked something dark. In 3 yearbook photos, none showing his own students in those images, he allegedly used AI tools to generate sexual content. The sheriff's office claimed that Hauser admitted to creating the material after deputies confronted him. From the moment the news broke, parents at the Christian school felt horror. The idea that images taken merely to commemorate educational progress, preschool or elementary achievements, could be misused in such a grotesque manner seemed like betrayal at the deepest level. In Facebook groups, parents compared their memories of smiles, awkward first-day photos, spelling bees. Everyday moments turned into evidence in a case that felt beyond comprehension. Isolation, shame, fear, they crept in and they spread. Investigators painted a chilling timeline. Hauser reportedly gathered yearbook photos, faces of children in his school, in normal school year portrait style. Then, with software that uses artificial intelligence to manipulate or morph faces, he allegedly produced images and videos that were pornographic in nature. None of those images were said to involve direct recording of children in sexual acts, but they were still explicit and illegal under CSAM, child sexual abuse material laws, because of how they were generated. Authorities say Hauser was first tipped off by concerns from an online tipster. The sheriff's office alleges that through local investigation, they found the AI-generated material stored on devices belonging to Hauser. When confronted, the teacher admitted to having 3 photos and videos derived from those yearbook images, though none allegedly featured his actual current students engaged in explicit acts. As the case moved forward, the charges were severe: possession of CSAM, attempted transmission of harmful material to a minor, and AI-related misconduct. Prosecutors argued that merely using the images to create sexual content, even if no children had been filmed doing anything illegal, was enough to cause irreparable harm. The law, they said, was catching up to technology, and those who tried to hide behind not real footage or just AI would still be held accountable. In court, the defense tried to argue that the images never showed children in sexual acts, that the AI creation meant a kind of distance, and that the material wasn't shared publicly or with minors. Some of the school community, remembering him as a gentle teacher, pleaded for presumption of innocence, pointing out his long service. But more and more parents said they felt betrayed, not just by the person, but by the system that let this kind of material go undetected. Media outlets and tech experts weighed in. Some legal analysts said the case would test how laws need to evolve for AI. Others warned about slippery slopes. If AI-generated content is criminalized too broadly, what about parody, art, or satirical uses? But for the parents and children involved, the legal theory didn't ease the reality. Their faces had been misused, their childhood photos twisted into something horrifying. As the trial loomed, there were emotional court scenes. Parents shaking in the gallery, children who recognized their yearbook photos unwilling to look. The prosecutor laid out the rules. CSAM includes content that is digitally generated if it appears to be children in sexual content. The judge reminded the courtroom that laws must protect children in all forms, real or virtual. Ultimately, while the outcome of each charge may shift by plea, motion, or appeal, the community already felt changed. Parents withdrew yearbook photos, demanded stricter oversight in schools for how digital images are stored and used. Some teachers took down photos of students in public spaces. The school board considered new policies for digital content, AI training, and just how far consent, protection, and ethics must stretch in a digital era. One of the hardest parts was the emotional and psychological fallout. A child who once loved seeing their photo in the yearbook felt exposed instead of proud. Another parent, who once praised the teacher's gentle guidance, now wondered how well we can ever know people who stand in front of kids daily. Questions that seemed theoretical before: what happens when technology outpaces laws? what privacy means for children now felt personal. This case, Stephen Hauser's in Pinellas Park, is one of several recent cases where teachers have been accused of sexual misconduct involving technology, minors, or both. But it stands out because of the way everyday innocence, yearbook photos, school portraits became twisted. Stand as a warning that trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. In the weeks after the indictment, the school suspended Hauser, parents demanded safe storage of all student images, and lawmakers renewed calls for stricter AI regulation. Civil rights groups pushed for clarity. Is AI-generated sexual content, using children's likenesses, treated same as content with real children? Many said yes for safety. Others feared overreach. Digital privacy experts spoke up. Metadata, device security, cloud storage, permissions, all became part of debates. Schools across Florida reviewed their policies. Who controls yearbook photo archives, who can access them, how they are shared, even if just within the school. Then came the inevitable trial strategy. The prosecution showed how even a single image manipulated for sexual content causes real harm, trauma, emotional distress for the minors whose faces were used. They argued that the harm isn't just physical. It's the betrayal of trust, the exposure, the feeling that something meant to mark innocence was twisted into something obscene. The defense argued about intent, about whether Hauser shared the images, about whether there was personal gain or distribution. But for the families, that often feels like semantics. Because once misuse is done, intent doesn't always erase damage. Verdicts in similar cases suggest there may be convictions, though sometimes sentences are limited by the novelty of AI law, by plea deals, or by legal technicalities. In many jurisdictions, judges have to balance protecting First Amendment concerns with protecting minors. This case shows how fragile trust is when technology intersects with innocence. Yearbook photos, meant for parents and teachers and classmates, now become latent vectors for harm if security isn't strict. It shows how laws may lag behind technology, and how ethics must push ahead. IT shows the emotional toll. Children recognizing themselves in images they never wanted to be manipulated. Parents feeling helpless. Communities divided between shock, forgiveness, outrage, policy demands. It also raises bigger questions. When is a teacher more than their title? When we fail to protect, do we lose part of what school is supposed to be? And how do we draw lines between innovation, AI, digital tools, and moral responsibility? 3rd grade teacher gets charged with horrifying crime is no sensational headline. It's a real case, a modern nightmare of how the tools designed to document childhood innocence can be perverted, and how society must adapt. Stephen Hauser's case reminds us. Sometimes the gravest betrayals happen not in shadows, but in daylight classrooms. Not with strangers, but with those we trust to protect. And when that trust is broken, it isn't just law that must judge, it's conscience. If you want to hear more true crime stories like this, make sure to subscribe to True Crime so you don't miss the next case that left the world speechless.